what keyword ranking strategies are you currently using? The entire goal for ranking is how many orders can we possibly get through that one specific search term. Now, I know there's a lot of talk in our space around like, oh, target like long tail search variations of the keyword and all of that stuff. That does help. It's not going to have the most impact. So the most impact for any ranking keyword is going to be getting orders specifically through that search, getting a lot of orders. So we don't just want one, we want a lot. And also making sure that our click-through rate and our conversion rate are really high on those key terms. So I'll be honest with you, the biggest impact on ranking you can have is really by picking the right keywords. So if your question was, how do I figure out what keywords do I rank on? I would say like look for things that you can afford to spend a lot, i.e. you're not losing money, meaning ACoS isn't like so crazy high that you can't afford it. You want to look for things that you have really good conversion rates. Bonus points if you have good click-through rates here, but I would go for conversion rates over click-through rates. And then you just want to like put money towards that. Now, if you say, how do I rank on this specific keyword, then that question is a little bit different. And I'm just going to tell you like push volume. Now, what I recognize is that me saying, hey, push volume through a one specific search might mean that that's not super profitable. So that's where I'm saying like the real trick is going to lie in the actual targets that you select to rank on. Other things, some pro tips and some pro hacks are more advanced, but can be helpful here, is if you have a specific search where it's like crazy expensive and you just don't really have the budget for it. Again, that goes back to keyword selection. Make sure you're selecting keywords where you can afford to spend that budget on it. But if we're on a specific keyword, you want to make sure that you're showing high enough in search that you can really get those good conversions and get those eyeballs on the product. But maybe you can't afford a ton of clicks because there's a lot of clicks and they're really expensive. And use the budget as sort of a lever to cap or meter how much money you are spending for that ranking play. Now, how effective that is going to be how many orders your market is making, and that's relative. So when I talk about trying to get a large amount of orders, it's relative to the other competition that is on that particular search page. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Ask Junglr. This is the time and the place to get answers to your most pressing Amazon ad questions. And we have an insanely special episode today with an amazing guest. First, I just want to do a quick intro to the show, and then I'm going to bring on my good friend. If you saw the thumbnail, you know who it is, but we'll do an awesome intro there. But if you are just joining in, hey, my name is Elizabeth Greene. I'm the co-founder of an Amazon ads agency, hence the name Ask Junglr, because the name of the ad agency is Junglr. And we go live every single Thursday to answer your Amazon advertising questions. And my goal in 2026 was really to bring this show to more audience, more listeners, and just really give you guys some really amazing perspectives on Amazon advertising, because the landscape is changing a lot. And so to help with that today, I have my really good friend, Mansour Norouzi. He is, if you have not heard of him, which why not? He puts out some amazing content around some of the most cutting edge things like AMC, talks about DSP, as well as everything new and exciting in the world of Amazon. So he is the partner and director of advertising over at Incrementum Digital. And we were chatting before we hit go and live. And he also is working on his own supplement brand as well. So welcome. I appreciate you joining in.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It's always great to be with you here, and great work with being very consistent over all these years doing this show. Thank you for having me.
It's been a lot of fun, honestly. I say it every week, but I'm like, oh, this is my favorite day of the week. But I'm like, I literally just get to sit here and chat about like one of my first loves, which is Amazon ads. So,
but the thing is that it's not easy. Like, it takes a lot of time, coordination, etc. So from far, it might look easy. It's just an hour of jumping on a call, but it's a lot of coordination.
It is. I think it's a lot of things to figure out. That was the hard part in just getting started. And I still get this. Like every single time I hit live, there's still that little part of me that's like, what if nobody ever shows up? I think that's the biggest fear, to be honest. But awesome. So for those of you, again, so I do want to do a quick format to the show just to let you guys know how you can make the best use of listening in, because listening in for answers is great. I'm sure just listening, you're going to get a ton of value, but the biggest value you're going to get is having myself, but also Mansour, be able to answer your questions and give you insights about what is happening right now. So myself or anyone who I bring on are people who are they're not just like they did ads 5 years ago and maybe haven't really touched anything. Like you heard, Mansour has his own brand as well as being a really part of Incrementum Digital. I know you guys do a lot, but a big thing that you guys do and talk about is advertising. So you get to be able to ask your Amazon ad questions to, experts in the space who are not just, again, it's not like we just did stuff years ago. We've seen every evolution of the platform where it is now, all the new buttons and options. And I know you guys get access to a ton of different betas and testing new things all the time. So really, really excited for this. If you want to take advantage, which you absolutely should, already see a couple of questions in the chat. I do want to allow Mansour to really give a proper intro to himself as well. But drop your questions into the chat on whatever streaming platform you're listening in on. We'll bring those up and then we'll be able to get answers for you guys. And I do find that a lot of times people will sneak in questions later. I'll just let you know, we plan to be here for an hour, but if you sneak in your question last minute, there is a very real chance you may not get your question answered depending on how many questions we have come through. It is a first come, first serve. I don't jump around. I go through them top to bottom. So first come, first serve. If you have a question, definitely recommend dropping in the chat now. I promise you we will get to it in 2 seconds. But really quickly, for those of you who haven't, or for anyone out there who's listening and who hasn't run across you or your content, do you want to do a really quick intro?
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Mansour Norouzi. I'm the partner and director of advertising at Incrementum Digital. At Incrementum, we, I would say, manage around, we give different services. We do brand management. We do managing advertising across retail media platforms. So Amazon, Target, Walmart, and some of the other platforms. But our main focus is on our Amazon, and most of our clients are for Amazon. We are doing now TikTok Shop as well. Awesome. And across I would say we are working with different brands from couple millions revenue per year up to brands that sell doing 300, 400 million per year. And just to give you more perspective, in average, I would say probably we are managing more than 5 million ad spend per month. And as you mentioned, Elizabeth, I launched my own supplement brand in Canada in January 2024. And that's another thing that it's my focus. For that reason, since I am a seller as well, I have some perspective to the other sides, updates, what's happening, because I'm a seller and I have to be on top of that. And also, as you mentioned, hands-on Amazon advertising. So it's not just I am managing the team and I don't touch the ads. No, every day I'm in advertising console and I'm aware of everything is happening, same as you as well.
Yeah. And I know that you put a lot of great content. I mean, where I run across your content is definitely on LinkedIn. And I know there's a lot of questions, like you said, about when SQP came out. I know you were putting out a ton of content on how to use that. And with AMC, you're putting out a lot of content on how to use that. So I've really appreciated, the stuff that you've put out. I know there's been a couple things I've sent to the team, hey, this is really good. You can go watch this. So it's mainly there. And then also you guys put out a lot of content on YouTube, correct?
Yes, we do. We do a lot of content on YouTube, but I would say we are mostly active on LinkedIn. And right now I'm a bit slow because I'm on a trip, so I haven't posted over the last 7 days,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm very active posting, and it's mostly, I would say, 80% is Amazon advertising, 20% is everything else. Like, for
Yeah.
instance, my last post, what I did is for my own brand. It's a CPG brand. It's a supplement brand. I took different reports, and with the use of AI, I love Claude right now.
Yeah.
Like ChatGPT is for me maybe once or twice a day. I open it up. Everything I do is in Claude. It is incredible, and I'm blown away
Mm.
with all the features it has. So
Yeah.
anyway, I'm getting data, and I have created something. I created something that there. It's not on Amazon. For me, the question of I'm giving all these promotion across the board, like with brand tailored
Mhm.
promotions. I'm giving coupon, I'm giving subscribe and save. What is happening and how it is impacting my subscribe and save?
Yeah.
What is the churn rate? I was blown away. I posted about this. The report will be ready. I'm gonna send it to everyone who commented. I will try to finish it this weekend. But yeah, that's like just we share on LinkedIn. If you want to follow me, it's mainly on LinkedIn. You can see my posts.
Awesome. Awesome. No, I very much appreciate that. And with that, I do promise we are here to answer your questions. We are going to get to them right now. So I know, again, a couple of you have dropped questions into the chat. We'll pull those up. Again, if anyone has any questions specifically around Amazon advertising, or as you heard, Mansour has a lot of depth beyond just that, feel free to drop your question in. But our first question comes in from Common. He said, what this is a great one, because I just talked to a brand today that they're like, hey, we know we're off season, we know sales are going to be lower. So this is a question that I'm sure you get from your brands, or just people in the space as well. The question is like, what's your approach to optimizing PPC during low conversion seasons, especially
Right.
seasonality? I would love to get your take on this.
Awesome. That's a great question. I would actually talk about few pitfalls that brands might get into that we see. One
Mm-hmm.
is that when we are during low season, they might challenge that why we are not generating more sales, and they are thinking in their mind that, oh, something wrong is going on and we
Yeah.
have to push it. Most of the brands, I would say, they have that. They are conscious. They know what is happening. They know it's the low season. But I have seen there are so many cases that I've noticed that the brands during low season, they feel like I feel like it's internal. Like you get
Yeah.
scared that, oh, what is happening, and they want to push to get more sales, which it's gonna cause lower profit because the traffic is
Yeah.
not there. That's the first pitfall, that they think something is wrong and they have to push it. And
Mm-hmm.
second is that they don't check their budget. So
Yeah.
that's the biggest issue I see, that I even be constantly going to talk with the team, is that your budget should be parallel and line with the traffic that you are seeing. It's not like that you set a budget for a campaign and you say, okay, this is always like thousand. If it's, we are high season today, if a campaign has $1,000 budget today, it should have $1,000 budget in the low season as well. And the reason is that because you have a certain goal, right? Certain tacos, you're going to achieve that. And
Mm-hmm.
there is a balance between how much organic you could generate sales, how much PPC you could generate sales. Of course, if you keep pushing, yeah, you could generate more sales with Amazon through PPC, but then your tacos will go
Yeah.
up. So that's why when you're optimizing at the end of the day with Amazon advertising, when we optimize it, they get to this balance that, okay, we spend this much, we optimize for this ACOS, we get to this tacos. But when during low season, if you don't pay attention to your spend, of course, when your budget is high, you're getting more clicks, you generating more sales as well. But that sales being generated from advertising is kind of moving this balance. Now your percentage for advertising is higher, so your
Yeah.
profit goes down. Your tacos goes up, your profit goes down. So that's these two pitfalls. You got to make sure that you are aligning with your budget and knowing that, okay, this low season sales will go down. Now the question was what we are doing. To be honest, I won't say there's a secret sauce. We just optimize for our goal. What is our tacos? We just optimize the bids, optimize based on what we are seeing. We just optimize to achieve the goals we have, plus day parting. Day parting is something that constantly we are doing, but it's just a matter of in low season, there might be some changes in people's behavior. So we look at it and we optimize and upgrade our day parting. But I would say we don't necessarily do anything specific. We just say, okay, we have to decrease our budget to adjust with this trend. Plus, what is happening in the sales? That is another discussion. We don't look at necessarily the sales. We look at our market share. Are we keeping the same market share we had as high season? Or, of course, you always love to grow, but do we have the same? If we see our market share is going down, yes, then I would say, you're doing something wrong. Like, is this the budget or what is happening? We have to get it back. But during low season, if your market share is the same, we just optimize it to make sure we are keeping the same tacos and same profit.
Awesome. I love it. I was gonna ask in the beginning how you were saying like, hey, you got to keep it low. I was going to ask like how you kind of gauge that, and then you wrapped it up perfectly with the market share, because like you said, your market is trending in a certain direction, and I know that we've seen similar things. The way we say it is like you can try, but you can't really outspend a downturn in the market. And when I say downturn, I just mean like a slow or a slump. Like no one wants to buy bathing suits when there's a blizzard outside. It's just not going to happen. They may click, they may be dreaming of summer, but unless, they're going on a fantastic vacation the way you are, like, warmer weather, it's not going to happen. And so exactly what you've kind of flagged is that if you try and do that, all that's going to happen is you're just going to eat up your profits, which we don't necessarily want to have poor profits off season if at all possible.
And I want to add to something like I have this principle for myself is that I love first principle thinking, and everything I do at the end of the day, all these strategies might look complex in surface, but you got to take a step back. When we are talking about low conversion season, what does that mean? It means if you in high season with 10 clicks you are generating 1 sales, in low season I'm just making up, with 10 clicks you are generating 1 sales. So if you want to keep the same tacos, same profit, what should you do? In order to have the same ACOS, same results, it means you have to bring your cost per click down, which goes, how can you bring your cost per click down? By optimizing, right? That saying, okay, my ACOS is here up, so I have to optimize. So it's just a matter of, you were at cost per click of $1 with 10% conversion rate in high season. Now it should be 50 cents, for instance, with 20 clicks to get to the same result. It's just a matter of understanding that what it means, low conversion, is just you getting more clicks. So you need lower cost per click to get to that results. And there are other tools to say, someone might be asking, okay, how should I know the conversion that I have is the conversion rate of the market? There are ways to understand it. One, which is the best one in my opinion, is the brand metrics. If your subcategory is there, we could talk about that as well. You could gauge yourself with a subcategory. What is with the brand metrics? This is my conversion. This is median. This is top of the category. Now, if I went down 50%, 10%, how much the top of the category went down? Is it the same, or all of a sudden my conversion from 10% goes to 5%, but top of the category is still 15%? It hasn't changed. Then there's something going on with your product, not the market. That goes to expands to more areas, but just look at the basics. Low conversion means more clicks. You need less cost per click to get to results that you need.
No, I love it. I love it. This is amazing. And this kind of goes into another question. These are the questions that, I feel like brands are asking all the time. And they're, like you said, the strategies can seem kind of, like we intuitively know them, but, giving somebody insights on how to execute them, I think that's the difficult part. So this question is, how do you balance between ranking keywords and
profitability keywords in a campaign? Because honestly, this balance is crazy important. I just talked to a brand and they're like, look, it's our off season. We know sales are going to be down, but like we're noticing that our ranking is slipping. And when we look at the ads, we're not really seeing our current agency like focusing on ranking keywords. And so we know they're like, there has to be a balance. But I would love to get your take on like what kind of methodologies do you have to sort of try and achieve that balance?
Right. That's a great question. A bit complex, but I'll give you some examples.
Not easy to answer, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's no easy answer to this, but I'll give you a few examples. So just first to answer how to balance between ranking keyword and profitable keyword. This is something strategic that you need to define what keywords you want to push for ranking, what keywords are good, right? First, you have to define these two. Again, we are going back to basic. Is your decision really correct that these are for ranking, these are for profitability? So you got to first understand that what keywords and where you want to push. Let's say you have a bunch of keywords that you feel like, okay, we are losing the rank for them. We have to push for these to improve our ranking. Or maybe you never pushed for ranking and you want to improve it for ranking. Then the first question right away is that, do we have capacity for this product to improve ranking or not? You don't want to just go and put a bunch of money and see, oh shoot, like we can't improve ranking. You're just wasting money, which goes back to how's your conversion rate? And we all know this after years of selling on Amazon, doing advertising on Amazon, that Amazon in the ranking system works in keyword level. The question is that, are you able to generate enough sales volume to signal Amazon to improve your organic ranking? That's a very, very important question. That, okay, you are, let's say top 5 in average, let's say number 5, selling 50 products per day. If you are selling 5 per day, well, of course you are not ranking well. But if you want to get to top 6, top 7, my question would be that, will you be able to push enough with advertising to get to that level, to sell, if it is 50, can you go to 30, 40 per day to move on the top? And then here's the question. You might say, okay, yes, we could make it. If the conversion rate is good, if you see your product is converting, search query performance, brand metrics, there are all these great tools that could give you enough information to understand that how's my conversion rate. The good thing about brand metric, I always first check brand metrics to see in my product level how I am performing. But the problem is that if you have the same product, same parent listings, it doesn't drill down to each product. But when you go to search query performance, it gives you the data in the keyword level. There are some downsides. I don't want to go to search query performance and downsides unless later we want to talk about it. But you could see average conversion rate of the market for each product is easily calculable because you have the clicks of the whole market, clicks of the purchases of the market. You divide its conversion rate of the market. For your product, you have the clicks, you have the sales. You can calculate the conversion rate and see where you are standing. So that's the first question. Is my conversion rate above the average market? We are not talking about the bestseller. Average market. If it is a yes, then okay, there's a chance. We could test. Now, second is that this is the problem I see with many brands and managers is that they take, let's say, 20 keywords at the same time. They want to push all of them for ranking. But as I mentioned, for each product, for each keyword, you need to generate enough sales to improve ranking for that. And if you are focusing on 20 keywords at the same time, the question becomes that, do you have enough budget to push enough for this product to be on top of search or wherever, to generate with Amazon advertising, if you are just pushing with Amazon advertising, to generate enough sales with Amazon advertising to improve for that keyword, yes or no? If you have unlimited budget, awesome. Go after all of them. If you have a limited budget, then you have to focus shift your focus that I have 200 per day extra. I want to focus my ranking. Here are just 5 keywords I want to go after. So again, comes back to how much budget you have and what keywords are the best for you. Now, sorry, I made this very long.
No, I think you brilliantly explained the 2 key things that I find most brands don't get right when it comes to figuring out this ranking versus profitability balance. And there is a third one I might tack on there. So the first one, like you mentioned, conversion rate. Look, if your conversion rate is half of that of your competitors, maybe you can try and push enough volume to outsell that, maybe. But therein lies the issue where, like, even if you do drive that volume, everyone wants to like push the volume through advertising, be able to pull back and have the organic ranking stick. Those are the scenarios that the conversion rate is not strong. People, I can't tell you how many I'm sure you've seen this in your audits, where they go in and they're like, oh, my ranking isn't working. And then you look at the keywords that they're trying to rank on and you're like, you're never going to rank on that. Like that's way too competitive. It's way too broad. It's not going to happen. So conversion rate is a huge one. And then the other one that you talked about, which I think was brilliant, was how many are you going after? Because let's be honest, the cost is going to be higher because you have to push on it. You have to spend budgets on it and you have to have high enough bids to show up high in search. So It's really those things. And then the other thing I might tack on to here, and if you have any like things you want to expand on, I would say another specific one when it comes to trying to rank sometimes is the campaign strategy or the match type strategy, because I've seen that in brands as well, where maybe they have an agency or maybe it's somebody in-house who's managing the ads, and they'll say, oh, we've given them more budget and we can see the budgets go up and we kind of see sales increasing, but our total A cost isn't great. And then when we tell them to optimize it and reduce the ad spend because we need to get more profitable, like our sales just go down. And so obviously we're dependent on ads. And I find oftentimes it's like they're trying to scale broad match or auto campaigns, or like they're just throwing money at campaigns that aren't true, like what I would, or I'm assuming you would also consider like true ranking campaigns as well.
That is actually, that's a great note, because the example I wanted to say is from 3 days ago. I had a call. We have this client asked me to be on the call they have launched a new product and they asked me to be on the call to go over any recommendations that I have as well. So the question for the ranking, usually when we launch, we start with exact. And the question was that, Mansour, why we are not going and doing phrase? And we also push phrase. I said, listen, I have no argument against running phrase. Actually, phrase, auto, broad, they are great. They are bringing good sales. But in the launch phase, the only issue with these match types is that we can't control it. So if I want to funnel the budget, if I want to funnel the clicks and sales to one term, with phrase, I can't do it. I'm going to increase the spend. And the conversion rate might be good. The only issue is that we could not say, oh, from this campaign, shift this much budget to that search term. We can't do it. That is why we focus for all ranking purposes, new products, old products. The only reason we go with exact is that we want to focus on the keyword. And the only, for specific search terms, the only way we could control it is with the exact. And this is what I told him, that phrase, yes, 2 weeks has gone and I don't have anything against phrase. Let's run phrase. But the way I look, if we have enough budget, the way I look about phrase is that let's give budget. We optimize for good ACOS. I don't want to if my ranking campaign with exact gets 80% ACOS, my phrase is going to be 40, 45, or whatever your goal is. My goal with this is to generate sales with good ACOS. Now, going back to that question, how to balance between ranking keyword and profitable keyword, is that what we do is that profitable keyword, optimize for ACOS, whatever your goal is. Now, you find the ranking keywords and say, here's how much budget I have. Here's how much budget I want to assign these ranking keywords. One thing that I would say try is that, first of all, don't go to your old campaigns and try to do the ranking with your old campaigns. That's one. Create new campaigns. Second is that don't, as Elizabeth mentioned, don't do with phrase and broad. Go with exact for those terms. Third is that if you are, let's say, you want to try ranking for ankle brace, my thought process is that have your old campaign that targeting ankle brace as exact, and you're optimizing for good ACOS. Have a new ranking campaign, because with this one, you want to push it for top of search. Let's control it for top of search. The other campaign lower, I know it is duplication, we have to, but the other one is just for good ACOS. So we are like, okay, if we can generate with good ACOS, let's do it. But the other campaign is specifically ranking high cost per click or top of search, etc.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think that is amazing. Which, by the way, if anyone is joining in here, I want to give a big welcome. I've seen another couple people join in. The format of this, by the way, drop any Amazon ad question or question you have about Amazon into the chat. We'll pull it up. It is a first come, first serve. We are working our way down the list. And with that, I will pull up the next question, which I have an opinion here on that there's actually some data points missing to be able to properly answer this question. Maybe we could talk that, but I would love to get your take first, because this question is, which again, I hear so much, is you have a keyword with 500 clicks, but it only has 2 conversion rates and it has a 45% ACOS. So the question is, walk me through the decision. Do you kill this keyword? Do you lower the bid? What is your optimization process when kind of confronted with something like this?
Well, I can't tell you if I kill it or not, because to your point, first, what is my target? Like what we are optimizing toward, right? If 45% is a good ACOS and you are generating sales, okay, good. But then if you are getting 500 clicks and 2 conversion, means that probably that keyword that you converted is loosely related. It's a very, very, very broad keyword for your product, because we have many products with low conversion rate, 3%, 4%, that, for instance, fashion products make sense. And you just optimize for that because it is an explorable product. People search to find a design, etc. With 500 clicks and 2 conversion rates, I can't tell you what to do about it, because it depends. What's the product? What's that conversion rate for those products? How other products are performing for that? But the way I would look at it is that this is a product, probably I would say you don't have a good organic ranking. And second thing, without seeing this, you don't have a chance of good organic ranking. You don't have a chance of improving organic ranking, because probably it's a very broad keywords and you don't need even to improve it, because it's going to be very costly for improving that. And that sales, maybe you got it from product detail pages or rest of search, I don't know. So in this case, I would say this is a term that I would just optimize for conversion. Now, the question is that with 45%, actually right now I'm thinking about it, is that if it is a term that you're not going to improve your organic ranking and it's just bringing you random sales, there might be a chance I pause it, because the way I look at it is that these are the sales I generated once or twice, and that's it. Does that make sense for me for this term every time to bring sales with 45% ACOS or not? Because if it's too broad, does that make sense for me or not? And there is a chance that I might pause this keyword. It is very difficult to judge about this with knowing more variables and more context. But for me as a brand owner, I'm telling you, I'm like, okay, 500 clicks, 2 sales. Well, it is like for me running a Google Ads and bringing customers with 45% ACOS. If they don't want to purchase from me again, and my organic ranking is not improving, which I'm 100% sure you're not there, well, does that make sense to invest in that keyword or not? Unless my ACOS for this is the way I look at it for that term. It's very strange, I know. The way I look at it for this term, I want the taco's goal with ACOS. If my taco's goal is 20%, I want my ACOS to be 20% for this term, because that's not helping me in any way. And I don't want to spend losing money for this term getting sales, because I'm just losing money. It's not helping me at all, but very difficult to comment here without any context.
No, I agree with you. I feel like, I mean, like, we got how many clicks and how many conversions. So from that, we can calculate the conversion rate, which I calculated.
It's 0.4.
Yeah, it's like 0.4%, which is really, really low. I can give you a framework that I've been developing and internally, it's kind of teaching internally. It'll be something that I'll be talking about at Prosper. Coming up here in a couple weeks. There's these kind of questions is where I find a lot of sellers get stuck, because there's things that are very, very muddy. Like, and I think the logic and kind of how you had walked through it is how we, all of us advertisers, think through it. But I feel like there's two different things that we're able to sort of hold in our brains and analyze, and we don't conflate the two things. Where I think a lot of sellers or brands or maybe beginning ad managers, it's really difficult for them to separate these two things. So I call it like the 2-chain evaluation is how I'm coining it. And so if you could think about it, when it comes to advertising, there's actually two things that we are evaluating. One of them, which I would call like shopper behavior chain, which is like impressions, clicks, orders, and of course click-through rate and conversion rate. So it's saying like, do I have strong conversion rates here? Am I even getting an impressions? When I get impressions, is anybody clicking? And so that's like a very specific chain evaluation, which a lot of those evaluations on click-through rate or conversion rate are also relative. Like how Mansour said, like, okay, so maybe you have a 0.4%, but like, is your conversion rate on average for that entire product? Like is it a over $200 product where maybe that might be acceptable? Or are you trying to sell like a $25 product where like there's no way that you're going to be able to get any traction at that low conversion rate? So a lot of these numbers are relative to the market as well when it comes to shopper behavior. But then the other chain you have to look at is the business economics, which is the click-through rate, your CPCs, your ACOS, like your total ACOS, your organic ranking, the impact of those two things. So I'd say when faced with this, my questions would be exactly that. Would be, okay, so how is it performing from a consumer behavior perspective? Not great. If we're looking at conversion rate, like not really great. So we're saying, okay, if it's not great on the shopper behavior, which again, that's relative. So I don't know your market. Again, if it's like, I've seen products sell on Amazon that are like over $500. They have really low sales volume and they have really low conversion rates, but maybe, so there might be extenuating factors, which I think your point of looking at brand metrics was phenomenal. So if you're brand registered, brand metrics all the way. But then there's the other thing that is, again, business economics, where if, again, relative to what your goals are, is 45% acceptable? Like, is your average across the count 50%? And that's what's, again, relative. But the other thing is you can offset poor consumer behavior with good business economics. Because I can guarantee you, if your CPCs were higher, there is no way you should be getting a 45% ACOS at a 0.4% conversion rate. The only way that this works is either if you have a crazy high AOV or if you have a low CPC. So those good business economics are offsetting really poor performance of this keyword. And so that's like when I'm trying to think through these evaluations, I'm saying, okay, if it's a poor conversion rate problem, there's this other framework and concept I think about when it comes to like ranking or strategies, which I call it like laser versus diffuse energy. So auto campaigns, broad match, it's very diffuse energy. I don't know where my budget's being spent. So say it's a broader match keyword, I want to know what search terms I'm showing up at. It could be a broad match and you have like one random search term that's getting like 100 of those clicks that never converted. So definitely go and evaluate that. So I'm evaluating it from a strategy as well to say, like, is there something in here that I can take out of the equation that's poor performing that I could make it perform better? And if it's sort of that diffuse strategy, exactly what Mansour said, like, I want to be profitable on those because those are not my ranking keywords. Those are not what I'm pushing on really hard to generate market share. So if it's not what I'm pushing on for market share, I don't want to lose money there. I want to be able to have those as profitable cash flow drivers. But on the flip side, let's go through the formula. If this was a diffuse strategy campaign, I would say, okay, 45%, maybe my goal for the account is 30. I'm not too far off. Oh, wow, the conversion rates are really horrible. But you know what? I have really low CPCs here. Is this a broader strategy? Okay, in that case, maybe I'm going to see, can I get even lower CPCs? Is there negative keywords I can add? Is there something I can do that acts on either my business economics or my conversion rate to make those two things balance out? If I can, I'm probably going to leave it running because if I can get it profitable. Versus if this was a ranking campaign, I would look at those, like, you really need to look hard at the consumer behavior aspect of it. There's probably no way where I'm going to make this ever work as a market share driver. So in those cases, I would be like, you know what? Let's cut our losses. Let's go find something else that's going to work much better. So in, like, again, I think there's parts to that equation that are missing, but when trying to, like, figure out, like, okay, how does our brains think about these things? Like, what are the decision trees we go through? That's kind of what I've ended up at.
Yeah, very, very well put.
Awesome. There's another one here from somebody else who is asking, and I don't know, do you have something you call the slider concept? Scaling versus
Not really. I don't know what a slider concept is.
We may have put out content and said something about it. It's entirely possible with everything we put out. I think we kind of covered it before, scaling versus profitability, and I kind of touched on it in my last answer as well. I mean, that's how I would quantify it, is like, do we have scaling? Do we have profitability? Or maybe we come at it in this direction, because I don't think we've touched on it on an account level. Like, we've touched on it in terms of, like, campaigns and strategy quite a bit in this conversation. But that might be something to talk about, because I know in terms of managing multiple brands, like, we have some clients that are like, hey, look, I want to generate sales. Like, my sales growth is my main. I understand we're going to have to spend. I understand I need to pay to capture market share. That's the game. I need somebody to manage that for me. And then there's the other, like, brands that go like, hey, look, I just care about cash flow. I need profitability. I need to move into that phase where I'm really just stacking cash for certain reasons. And then those are very different strategies to manage. I think they have the same core concepts, but in terms of, like, how you go about building that strategy or what you tolerate in terms of pulling back or pushing, those would be very different.
Yeah, that would be a great question in account level and how to think about it, because we have many of these situations, and mostly happens that accounts come to us and say, or they have their own internal forecast and say, this is our goal for next year or next 6 months. So, and mostly I have noticed that what they expect, it is higher than what they could achieve. Their expectation is really high. So for us, the first step is just to think through this, do our forecast and say, okay, you are telling us you want to get to 20 million next year, but from our analysis that you were in this year, you're at 12 million, you're going to get to 16 million. If we do what we have been doing, if we don't push it, if we do what we have been doing, you are going to get to this number. So we do this forecast, and the way we do it is based on historical data for past 3 years historical data. We look at the trends and we do this analysis to say, if we don't add anything, we don't remove anything, just continue with what we have doing, we are going to get to this number. It becomes our baseline. Now, let's say you're looking for 20 million, we get to 15 million as an assumption. So here's the question. They want to scale. They say, we want 5 million extra in sales. Now, if we take a step back, how do you want to bring 5 million extra sales? Let's think that we don't have any external traffic. We are not working on that, which it's not the case for bigger brands. Usually they do external, they do TikTok, Google ads, but let's put that assumptions beside. It becomes that most of this is going to be generated from PPC. So we have 5 million sales that we have to generate with PPC. But then the question that someone might be asking here is that, oh no, if we are pushing, we will improve our organic ranking because of that push, we will get from that 5 million might be 3 million advertising, 2 million, for instance, organic, because we are pushing, we are improving organic ranking. Then becomes that, well, we don't know what we don't know, right? Yeah. We always forecast for the worst case scenario that 5 million, all of them will be coming with PPC. And in our models, we have another one that we say, okay, the first 3 months, we have this much extra in advertising. We are generating this much extra in sales. So let's assume we are improving 5% our organic sales. So we model that in sometimes in our forecast as well based on the account. But talking about scaling and how we think about it is that everything goes for us back to forecast. We create a baseline that you are here, you want to go there. How much spend do you need? We don't like to move blindly, which most of the brands they do, and they're like, okay, let's just increase the spend and see what happens. If you want to scale, if you have a goal, we love to do that forecast. And I'll give you this with all these AI tools. I'm sure you could come up even with some type of forecasting. We have our own methodology, but the thing that I forgot what I wanted to say. Oh, first do the forecast and understand that how much spend you need to achieve to that goal you have, instead of going blindly. And I remember, I wanted to tell this. This is a forecast, by the way. It doesn't mean it's going to get through. Maybe there's a 10 to 20% difference, but that's the goal.
Or
that's
they run out of stock.
Exactly. If you run out of stock, or what if in the middle of the year you launch a new product? Well, that's going to help your product as well. So all of these variables. So in terms of that's for scale. Now, the first question is that this is an account level, how we are going to achieve our goal. Then we go drill down into product level. We see all the products, the potential, the tacos that they have. Sometimes we see a product with 5% tacos for brands, their goal, they have room to go to 15%. We are like, okay, there is a room here for this product. You are not putting enough money. Sometimes happens that the ACOS is the tacos is very high, and we see no potential for that product at all. You're like, yeah, you're spending this much. It's not improving your organic ranking. It's not increasing the organic ranking. So why we are pushing? So from account level goal, we drill down to ASIN level goal, that here are the potentials that we could push. Here are the ones that we have to back off. And here is how much spend we have in the account level. Kind of, it is more complex than I'm saying, but we distribute this sales in account level to ASIN level. Based on that, we come up how much we have to spend for each product. And there we have month over month spend for each product. But in profitability, it is easier. You want to get to 20% account level. Well, that's a threshold in account level. Then again, we go back to ASIN level. In parent level, what are your goals? Tell us for each of these products, what are your goals? So from there, we see what we are spending less, we increase the spend. Even if we are in profitability, it doesn't mean we are not going to push some products. If we are not spending enough, well, and we have room, why we aren't spending enough? We start pushing. And then we find the products that are making us negative, we are losing money, they're not hitting our target, we start optimizing them. That is in product level. And then even in ASIN level, in product level, you have the same question. There are keywords that you're ranking organically very good, profitable, great, do the optimization. There are keywords that you have to have room. You might have room for improve organic ranking. Well, test it in a small level in a way that it doesn't usually impact your tacos level. So you slowly, you get like 1, 2, 3 keywords. in ASIN level, you are starting to do the optimizations. In every layer, we have this scalability, profit, in account, ASIN level, and in keyword level, we are analyzing them.
That was awesome. No, I appreciate that. We got time for a couple more questions, which, by the way, if you have an Amazon ad question, we might get a chance to answer them. So we'll get into this. This is a question, and I don't know if there's a specific answer for that, but I know you've been, we're a lot in search query performance reports as well. But this question is, what percentage of organic versus PPC do we have in search query performance? Because if you didn't know, search query performance includes sponsored as well as the organic sales. But I know there's nuances as to how the sales are calculated. And I don't know, have you been able to find, I don't think there's like a strong split, because I assume it depends on every single search query.
There is no split. There is no number, I would tell you. But in terms of what in search query, what do we have in search query? Search query includes the organic results, the sponsored product results. It doesn't include a sponsored brand, and it doesn't include, I can't recall, it doesn't include a sponsored display. It doesn't include sales generated, of course, from product detail pages, because that's not the same funnel. I explained that. Just the badges, I can't recall it, but in documentation, if you look, it explains that.
It doesn't include widgets either.
It doesn't include, right?
Yeah. Actually, let's pull up a search page. And we can go through it. I like doing demos on this, because so it does include a lot, but it doesn't include.
If you go to the search query performance in the help, it's very clear what is included, what's not included.
Yeah, so any sales through a sponsor brand's video ad, I don't think you can see my cursor. This is not included. These would be included. So this is sponsored. This is like grid sales. These would be included.
Right.
These would be included. But there's this one. Like, I think, remember me if I'm wrong, I believe these are triggered through like sponsored product ads. But
they're triggered from sponsored product ads, and the badge ones, as far as I remember, are not included. I could check it out and comment, because I can't recall it. Other than that, any other sponsored product, put the badge aside, sponsored brand aside, sponsored display aside. Everything here is included, organic and PPC.
And then the other nuance is that those sales, it only counts them in, say, like a 24-hour period where there's a click attribution that happens. Because I know that's a question that sellers will often have, like, hey, my search term reports report like so many more sales, and then if I look at search query performance, like it's actually lower. Like, this doesn't make sense. And what I would say, like, the data sets and the way in which they are calculated is so, like, it's not, a lot of people think like Amazon's like, oh, they're just trying to confuse us. They just have different ways that they calculate. So my recommendation whenever you're faced with any new report is like, read the documentation. Like, that's my favorite thing to read, is like, read the documentation on how they calculate and how the data is reported. And then that will show you like, oh, okay, so this is only like, think about it. If they only click and then they purchase within a 24-hour period, for some specific products, it might be really close because you have a really small purchase window. For other products, people take a long time to decide.
Longer. And not only that, Elizabeth, and that's one part of the equation. Here is the more important thing, that it is a search query performance is a funnel from customers searching for a product, clicking on the same product, purchasing the same product. I'll give you one example. If a customer clicks on your product, that click for that product shows up in your search query performance. But if they go and purchase the variation, the purchase is not going to show up because customers didn't purchase the same product they clicked. They purchased the variation. That search funnel is not there. That is very, very important. Plus that 24 hours that you mentioned. That is why you shouldn't say, oh, I'm going to compare my business support or campaigns with what is happening in the search term level. This is directional. And it is an incredible data for directional. I have created I'm gonna post a post about that next week. I connected my SUPA. I had a template for SUPA. I have created it with vibe coding UI based
Nice.
that brings the SUPA plus brings the ad data, so I can see, okay, when did we pull off, and on the ad, if the ad went down and I see purchase share or click share went down, like it gives you some ideas what's happening. So it is directionally, you got to look at it. Don't think about, oh, what's my sales here, why it doesn't, they are not aligning, because the source of data is different, how they are being calculated. And going back to this question, what percentage of organic with PPC? Absolutely no number. I'll give you one quick example. You might be organically ranking number one, and your offer, you have the bestseller, your offer is better than anyone else. I might say you might even not need to try, not even spending on PPC. So, okay, I'm suggesting you get your PPC percentage to 0. So the answer to this question is absolutely no number it's just based on the results and etc.
As you said, it's directional, but of course, like I know you, like you said, you have your whole super report, and like there's so many great analysis that you can do with. So we're not by any means discounting the power of search query performance reports. I think it was one of the most insane reports that came out from Amazon first party data, because as you said, it's directional. Like, there was one report we pulled for a client. There's a competitor that came up, and we're like, hey, we're still good. We're still ranking on specific keywords. And we were able to demonstrate, only because we had search query performance report, to say, hey, look, we might have stronger than average conversion rate and click-through rate versus the competitors. But if we look at month over month, directionally, our conversion rate and click-through rate have decreased. So we're still competitive in the market, but we can say with Definity across all of our top search terms, hey, we're not as competitive as we once was. We're not as far ahead. Like our numbers have gone down. And so that's something that, they're getting ahead of it with listing optimization. There's tons of things that can be done. But again, so it's very powerful if you don't get confused and like try and compare external data sets.
Exactly. Very powerful. It is extraordinary. I can't tell you. I could talk a few hours just about search query performance.
Do you have time for one last one?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. This is one, I'm sure, again, I think there's a lot of data points missing here that we would have to analyze, but maybe we talk through how do you tackle a question like this? Because this is something that does happen, right?
Yeah.
So let's say client sales are decreasing month over month. So we're seeing the sales go down. We're seeing the results that we don't like. What are your methodology? Like, how do you go about even figuring out root causes for these kind of things?
Awesome. I'm happy that you mentioned root causes. Guys, first principle of thinking. Okay, your sales going down. Now, what does it mean sales going down? Either you are getting less traffic, meaning less clicks to your listing, that is going on, or your conversion, the traffic is the same, your conversion rate has gone down. So let's say traffic didn't change, nothing is there. You are getting the same sessions, same clicks, traffic is the same, conversion rate has gone down. Now, again, in that conversion rate, then the question is that what did you change anything with the listing? Because if you are getting the same traffic, means either you had a coupon code, you had a deal, you had something that now it is gone, so you are getting less sales. That is one. The second could be that your listing got a negative review, something is happening there. So there is something with the listing, which I'm assuming in most cases, probably, if you're asking this question, it might not be from the listing. So let's put that aside. Let's say nothing with our listing change. Now, if it changed, well, then you got to go back. Like, you got to fix it. The second thing is that, or something else that we recently see, that frequently return badge showing up there. And I don't know, Elizabeth, if you saw or not. Now Amazon, right under that frequently return badge, it shows your competitors that purchase that. It's good and bad. Bad for brands that they get that badge, but it has a huge impact in your conversion rate. So let's say your conversion rate is okay. Now, the other thing is that your traffic, so let's say conversion is the same, traffic has gone down. Again, traffic, the question becomes that, is it market? Do you see sales trend going down? All the competition in the market, they are seeing the same thing? Or no, that's just you. Maybe a competitor running deals, or there's a new competition or existing competitors that all of a sudden they have done a great job. They have improved their listing. Now they have a great coupon. They have a great deals. They are stealing your sales. So in that case, you got to see how to deal with them. So I would say in this case, you need to find the root cause and never talk about sales decrease month over month. Always take that mindset, get it to market share. At the end of the day, that market share is important because everything I mentioned about traffic and conversion, if you look at the market share, your market share is roughly the same, then nothing happening, you are good. But yeah, goes back to what is the root cause? And from there, you could understand what you do. We could maybe have another session, see every root cause and see what to do. But if you don't know the root cause, there is no answer I could tell you. My answer might be, well, actually, you're good. Your sales going down because market trending down. Or no, market not trending down, your sales going down. Yeah, because this competitor has a much better offer than you. Well, you can't compete with them unless you do a change. What is happening over there? So there's so many answers to these questions.
Yeah, no, and I just want to like highlight one of the points that you were talking about is, sometimes it's something you've done, like traffic. So if it's traffic, definitely track ads. Are we, have we tried to pull back for profitability and maybe we decrease certain things, or, have we not gotten as competitive and maybe our ranking, like there are certain things that ads can touch there with traffic. And then with the conversion rates again, but it's oftentimes what I find is that sometimes brands will say, well, I haven't done any changes recently. We haven't changed our ad strategy at all. It doesn't seem to be that there's anything that we've done. And I think what we're hearing a lot in this conversation is it's not just how you're doing, it's how you're doing relative. So there are a lot of times where it's like, your competitors have moved on and you just haven't kept up. And I find, unfortunately, a lot of times this happens when there's a hero product that's been the market leader for an extended amount of time. And to be honest, maybe if we've gotten a little bit complacent and we haven't really tried to keep up and outpaced ourselves continuously. And it's like, oh yeah, we're the market leaders, or, we're doing good. Why do we need to worry? And then trust me, if you are doing well and there are those around you are doing well in the market, there will be somebody eventually who will notice that success and try and get their own piece of it. It is the nature of the beast. It is the nature of the market. And so I would say, as Mansour, you definitely find the root cause, because if you can find the root cause, that's how you know what you need to fix. So if it's a traffic thing, hey, we maybe need to push on our ads for a time so we can get the traffic back. If it's a conversion rate issue, oh, what has the market done? Oh man, they're using these new images now, and then this is better, more competitive, more appealing. Maybe, unfortunately, a lot of times, sometimes you can only compete so much on price, but sometimes people are coming in and undercutting. Oh, is there something we can do with price? Is there something we can do with coupons? Like, there is always some game that can be played, but if you don't know what the root cause is, you don't know what to do with that. So I would 100% say find the root cause, and then you will find out what you need to fix. Well, this has been absolutely amazing. I appreciate you staying over and answering that last question. Really quick before we go, if someone wanted to get a hold of you, what is the best way to do that?
LinkedIn. Best way to reach out to me, LinkedIn. And I might be slow if you are directly messaging me. There are so many messages there, but yeah, LinkedIn is the best way.
Awesome. So I would say definitely go talk. Even if you aren't going to reach out, I would say definitely you should go and follow Mansour on LinkedIn. Go and look him up. It is well worth the follow. And with that, again, I really appreciate it. And for everyone else, we will see you guys all same place, same time next week to get your questions answered. Thanks so much.
And that wraps up this episode of the Ask Junglr Amazon Advertising Podcast. I hope you found these insights and strategies helpful in your Amazon PPC journey. Remember, If you have a burning Amazon ad question that you'd like answers to, head over to junglr.com/live to join our next live Q&A session. Until next time, keep optimizing those ads and stay hungry.